Alright, so you might think this video is going to be really long and dramatic and play entirely in black and white like my old Black Ops 4 video, but that's really not the case. Rainbow Six Siege gave me some of the most fun gameplay moments I have had in my entire life of playing FPS games. I honestly think it's a very well-crafted game. I think it's been a lot of fun for me. I leveled up over 240 times, mostly playing casual, but I didn't care. I enjoyed the mechanics of Siege. I enjoyed the style of Siege, but why did I stop playing it? It goes without saying, or at least it should, that I'm not crapping on anybody who enjoys Rainbow Six Siege, and I'm not saying Siege is a bad game. This video is about my personal reasons for not enjoying the game anymore, and if you have different opinions, that's fine. I recommend if you really want to share them, make your own video, because telling me that Siege is good for the opposite of the reasons I'm about to state doesn't make any difference. We could share anecdotes all day, but what really matters is how our personal anecdotes affect our perception. So here's my perception. If I get anything factually wrong though, feel free to correct me. When my interest for Rainbow Six Siege was at its height, I genuinely couldn't see a world where I'd stop playing it. I decided to make a video about why I'd stop playing it, because it was kind of a fun mental exercise. I'm really enjoying this thing, but what could make me stop? And similar to my opinion on the Star Wars franchise in its current state, what would make me stop enjoying it is an oversaturation of goods. So unfortunately, my prediction was correct. As things continued to get added and changed in Rainbow Six Siege, the less I was interested in it. At a certain point, I was saying that these meta changes felt like they were replacing content updates in order to keep players interested. So how do you keep players interested in a game that's been out this long? Well, keep changing up how each of the operators work. So take grenades away from this guy, change this guy's weapon, take away this attachment from this gun, and it got really overwhelming after a couple of months of that. It really felt like everything was constantly shifting. And it really made me think, if the game's never going to be perfect, none of the changes that Siege was making at the time put the game into a perfect state with a perfect meta. So my thinking was do more subtle things and keep the game feeling consistent, so if I take a couple weeks break from the game and come back, an operator I really enjoyed using isn't drastically being reworked. And on top of that, maps that I enjoyed playing on for better or worse. Again, I was not playing ranked, I was not playing competitive, I was playing casual. I just enjoyed the game's mechanics and style compared to the other AAA shooters I played. This is where potentially objectively better versions of things clash with my preference. You see, Old Haverford Base was a map I really enjoyed playing for better or worse. I just had a lot of fond memories in it. It was one of the beta maps. I actually really liked this map. The new version, I don't like. I think it's icky. I don't like the aesthetic. I don't like the layout. I don't like playing on it. I didn't like learning it, and even when I learned it, I didn't enjoy playing on it. Still, it wasn't something I enjoyed, and the old map that I loved was gone. And I had friends that would tell me, well, they might add it back in a temporary event, or they might put it in custom games. I don't care. This is not how you win my favor when it comes to shooters. I'm sorry. Maybe this is picky, but don't take content out of my game. This pattern has been repeated with maps that I really enjoyed, like Oregon and House, maps that I genuinely fucking enjoyed, but they're just sort of gone now, reworked, reduced to atoms. And some things that I liked, like the night versions of these maps, were gone. My friends and I used to custom game on Night Oregon all the time because it was a nice, medium to large map that was a lot of fun to play on for us, and it just really sucked that that was just gone. And telling me to wait for the devs to temporarily add it back for nostalgia, put it in custom games, I just didn't want to do that. And this is where my level of frustration really increased over the coming months. Operators and the playstyles they allowed with certain gadgets, equipment, and balancing things were being removed in the way of patches, and maps were being reworked and essentially being removed and at the same time. So it was very, very frustrating. I'm flustered talking about it. Then we also have the frustration of temporary events, really detailed, interesting, cool-looking things that are just gone seemingly moments later. An entire zombie PvE mode, really fun temporary event maps that aren't even able to be played offline by yourself or in custom games, and it really felt like I had purchased something, which, I didn't purchase it for very much at the time. I think I spent $30 on it. But it was really weird seeing content that clearly had a lot of love put into it be put into the game and then taken out. You can't go access it in a playlist, you can't custom game it with your friends, it's just gone. So this repeated the pattern of things being put in and then changed and removed, and I can't even remember every operator or map change or temporary event that was done and then undone, and it just bothers me. And on top of that, the meta changed into ability play, in my opinion, more so than gunplay. My friends jokingly refer to Rainbow Six Siege as a MOBA now, despite it being one of our favorite FPS games back in the day. When Finka and Line were added to the game, I felt a bad wind coming, and that's really what made me make the video I made back then. My opinion was, and still is that Siege is no longer the game that I purchased back in 2016. It's no longer the tactical or methodical military shooter that I actually really enjoyed it being. And when they added faster and goofier and more high-tech stuff, it didn't bother me, but it stacked and stacked and stacked until I currently don't find it enjoyable anymore. But there was one other straw that broke the camel's back. This was when all of my friends were on console. None of us really wanted to play on PC, especially since our friends were all on console. I wasn't going to ditch all of my friends to go play Siege on a more competitive platform. Hell no. I wasn't going to abandon my friends for higher frame rates and mouse aiming. No, it really didn't seem important to me at all at the time. But it didn't stop people from cheating and utilizing a keyboard and mouse setup when playing Rainbow Six Siege. Siege on console, in my opinion, is very, very even playing field, very, very balanced. Everybody's playing at 60 FPS, everybody has, zero aim assist, and so gunfights aren't as fast as they were on PC. It actually added to the more methodical, tactical nature, in my opinion, because people weren't as confident with their aim on a controller compared to how they would be on a mouse. A mouse and keyboard player versus a controller player in games like Halo and Call of Duty is damn near negligible compared to the difference between a Siege controller user and a Siege mouse user. In a game with one-shot headshots, high zoom optics, and where console players literally just have zero aim assist, it doesn't make any sense to go play ranked or casual at a certain point when you just keep dying from people that are clearly using a mouse and keyboard based on how they look around the map, based on how they flick on you, and sometimes outright just messaging you saying get fucked on by a keyboard. Now that I'm more into PC gaming when it comes to my shooters at least, I might give Siege a try again someday. But the Siege that I purchased, I'm sorry, if this sounds dramatic, it's gone. And I'm just kind of okay with it. I'm kind of tired of it. On top of all of these frustrations I have with the game, and I think most of them are pretty valid at least subjectively towards me, nothing objectively damning, but I think they're valid criticisms from me, the individual. But if all of them weren't enough, I think the big problem that I face is that I just got bored of it. I got bored of it, and even through all the changes they were doing, it just felt more and more stale. Between the operators they were adding and the maps they were reworking and the playstyles they were changing up by changing the operators that were already in the game, I just got tired of it. Siege's gameplay loop is very unique, and I will always value it, and it'll always be something I'm glad I played. But after a while, boredom sets in, and then after a while after that, a bunch of unnecessary stupid changes come in, and I'm less and less motivated to play. This is one of those videos that's very, very subjective, so if you disagree with it, I really can't give a shit. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you when I see you. Hopefully this answered some of your guys' questions. Goodbye.